Narcissistic rage. How to deal with it without feeling wounded. I'm sure that you have experienced the rage of a narcissist. Just in case you haven't, this is what it looks like. I can't believe you just did that. You know I hate it. You do that to hurt me. Rah, rah, gobbledygook. I'm saying sentences that make no sense. You know not to do it. I tell you not to do it, but you always do it. You don't care how I feel. You make me feel like I'm not worth having your attention. You make me feel unloved, unwanted. How could you do that to me? And most of all, it's all your fault. Hi, I'm Carol Rathel, occupational therapist, and this channel is about healing with self-love, because self-love is the most important thing to do. Let's take a deep breath and explore what causes a narcissistic rage. This knowledge will, I hope, lead you to never feel intimidated or bullied by a narcissistic rage again. Let's recap on a video called Lose the Fear of the Narcissist, which is appearing in the top corner, up there, hopefully, right now. A narcissist's emotional development stops happening in childhood at the time a traumatic event or some event or some situation in the child's life occurred, and then they grow up to be adults with a child's emotional maturity. So you end up with a child in an adult's body. Trying not to put my thumb in my mouth again. They control and manipulate people to feel important in the world. When they control and manipulate, it helps them to feel safe in the world. Narcissists have a long-held belief that they're entitled to special treatment. As soon as someone looks at them the wrong way, like a partner or even a child, and don't I remember this one, it challenges their sense of importance, and rage often follows. It's basically them being afraid, and when we're afraid, the next emotion that we go into is anger, because it's part of that fight and flight response. We want to deal with the danger, and narcissists are no different. So when we challenge their sense of self, they can fly into a rage. I'm reading some notes now. Narcissistic rage was first identified by Heinz Kahut in 1972. He's a psychologist who has extensive years of studying narcissism. He believes that the way a narcissist sees himself as better than everyone else, their very own identity and self is being called into question, or they have been slighted or insulted and will experience narcissistic injury. Hence they react strongly to regain total control over their world or the person who has made them feel less than important. One thing I want to stress here is that if you have triggered a narcissist into a rage, you haven't done anything wrong. More likely, you've stood up for yourself, or you've expressed some anger that you need to. Whatever it is, when you get raged at, it's not about you, it's about them. It's about their inability to control their emotions, because they never developed the ability to do that as we did as we grew up into adults. Now, the narcissist thinks it is your fault, always. But you can never make another adult feel any emotion we do get to choose how we feel, and really so can a narcissist, but they're stuck in a victim mentality. I know it can be difficult to understand that nobody can make us feel anything, but let me give you an example, a simple example of how we choose emotions. I was driving along the road one day and somebody pulled out of a side street and cut in front of me, really close, really fast. Now, I could have A, been really scared and then got angry and did a bit of road rage, or B, and this is what I did, was like, wow, that was an amazing feat of driving. That was so quick. Their timing was amazing. And I wish I could do that. And I do. I mean, I wait for big distances before I'll pull out onto the road. So I made a choice in that moment and opted for a thought, an emotion that was more consistent with how I wanted to feel. So we really do have the power to choose how we're going to feel in each situation. By the way, now is a good time for you to go down and hit the like button and subscribe if you're not already. Hitting the like button means that YouTube will put this video out in front of more people who might need to hear my message. Let's explore some tips for dealing with the narcissistic rage, so you stay safe psychologically and emotionally. Tip number 1. Remember, they are a child in an adult's body, emotionally and in their social development as well. They know how to manipulate and control people. They don't know how to have healthy relationships. So I'll ask you the question, would you allow a 2-year-old having a tantrum to make you feel afraid, to feel intimidated, to control you? Well, hopefully the answer is no, of course not. So if you see the narcissist as a 2-year-old having a tantrum, which is pretty close when we consider their emotional development, as I've said, then why would you want them to have any power over your feelings whatsoever? Don't engage with their rage. If you engage and try to stand up for yourself, or argue with them, or show that you're upset, then you're feeding them. That's exactly what they want you to do, because they are manipulating you with your emotions. So don't engage. Let them rave on. Instead, just observe. Maybe you want to watch them with one eyebrow raised. I have trouble doing that. Which gives them the message that you're watching them, but you're not taking on anything that they're saying on board, and that you're not being fazed by it. This gives them nothing to feed on. They're not going to gain total control over you, which is what they want with that rage. Also, it feels really empowering to just stand there and go, mm-hmm. Next tip. Imagine you are studying them like a detective or a psychologist, and count the number of times that they lie. There will be a few. Count the number of times that they make you responsible for how they feel. There'll be a few of those. Count the number of times they twist the truth to suit their narrative of what is going on. Watch their body language. How often are they waving their hands around the air? Being an observer and counting the number of things that they do enables you to stay in the analytical state of mind. When we get afraid, a chemical flushes through the body and causes the fight and flight response, and your body gears up to fight or run away from danger. When you're in that state, you don't think rationally. You can't analyze things. You literally are geared up to fight or run. So by counting things and observing and noticing, you're staying in that rational mind that's in the analytical. And that keeps you in a better state to stay calm and to make a choice about what you're going to do. If you're new to all of my suggestions, and if you've been overpowered and hurt by the narcissistic rage before, you might want to practice this with a friend or in front of a mirror, and then become comfortable enough so that when the next rage happens, you can then just quietly observe. Here is a tool for somebody who is in that situation where you've been raged at and you haven't regained your power and you're watching this video. Here is a neuro-linguistic programming tool that is really effective. Now, if you're standing or sitting and the narcissist is raging, imagine stepping backwards out of your body and stand behind your body in your imagination. In your imagination, put your hands on your physical shoulders and say to yourself in front of you, I've got your back. We're going to be fine. I'll keep you safe. This is powerful technique. And then when you're feeling that, take another step back out of that imaginary self and then watch yourself supporting yourself. In that third part of you, you'll be removed from your feelings because the physical body is experiencing them. You've stepped back into different levels of your mind that is not feeling the emotions. And that way you can watch objectively and watch yourself and see how you stand. What language are you giving to the narcissist? Are you looking cowed and, kind of, oh no, you're right? Or are you standing up and just waiting for them to finish? It's a powerful NLP technique. You might want to rewind this, write it down, and actually practice it. Practice it a lot, because we can do it. It really is effective. Another tip: learn to see the humour in the situation. It can be quite humorous watching an adult throw a child's tantrum, which is what narcissists do when they go into narcissistic rage. The number of times I've seen one and they've, like my demonstration in the beginning of this video, I'm saying all these things and it's making no sense. That's what I hear. They lose the ability to keep a single stream of thought. And it can be funny to watch. It's a refreshing way to look at what is going on, is seeing the humour. And when you're seeing the humour, of course, you're removing yourself from being a victim and you're standing there as a sovereign being with your power to choose how you're going to feel. Always, you have a choice, and you don't have to stay in the role of being a victim. Until the next video, I'm sending you love.